Hello. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Bright Side, and we are launching our Bombay video podcast. And I have a gem. She's a sapphire, a diamond, and to me, she's like a real hidden gem that we have found. Her name is RAELL PADAMSEE, and many of you may not know the Padamsee name, but it's very famous in Bombay for their English speaking plays, and she is the MD and CEO of Ace Productions. She's the managing trustee of the Create Foundation, an advisory member of the Aspire for Her, and a managing editor member of Women Build India Habitat for Humanity. She is the daughter of an advertising legend, Alec Padamsee, who I have been a very big fan for a long time, and he is also very famous for his theater, and he's a film. And her mother is also a theater and film veteran, Pearl Padamsee, and she you might know because of the movies she's made. And you might also know her brother Ranjit, who's been in some Hollywood movies that you might have seen. So she started at 15, directed her first play at 16, and she featured in Woody Allen's Point Drink the Water at the age of 17, founded a grooming academy at 18, and produced a play for Ronnie Screwwala for his production at 19. By 22, she started her own production company, and now, over 30 years, with more than I think 100 productions, she brought a production to Raleigh, Broken Images, and I was like, wow, this woman is someone I have to interview. So, welcome, Rael, to my studio. And it is such an honor and privilege to know someone like you and all the great charitable work that you're doing. So I'm really looking forward to this interview. So you started your career at 15. So tell us a little bit about this whole, you know, uh, journey that you've been on.
Crazy roller coaster, dramatic roller coaster ride. Hi, Elizabeth. It's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm really happy, honored, and delighted to be here. It's always my privilege, and I feel very special when I get to talk about theatre and, of course, my foundation, which is the most important thing to me. So yeah, actually, I started at 15. Acting was a big thing. My mother was a drama teacher in about five schools, so she taught a gazillion children. And one of the schools happened to be the one that I was in. I performed. It was great. The next year, I went back to direct their plays. So that was very interesting and exciting for me. And then slowly, this is how we got going. I started working actually at the age of 16. My father said, there's no way that you're going to sit around and do nothing. So the minute your college timings are over, you have to go and go to a job, which was lovely actually because it was in a very creative space. It was Western outdoor. It was to do with audio visuals at that time, video, it had just come into the country. Very exciting. And, for a 16-year-old, that was like, you would,
Yeah.
with tech and things like that, it was lovely. Anyhow, so we did it all, and we then started our own production company, like I said, which was theater driven at the age of 22. And we've been going strong. Actually, it's our 41st year right now. So we're quite happy. We're quite proud of the fact that we managed to sustain. A lot of people do a lot of things, and I really admire them for it. But it's very tough to actually sustain over the years. And a lot of our plays, luckily enough, have been very long running. So, like, for example, Broken Images, it's been now almost 20 years
Wow.
that yeah, so those kind of things. So it's a lot. And there's a lot that we've done. Like I said, there are over 100 plays. Apart from that, we do a lot of other theater because we have an academy. We have an academy for children that's called the Academy for Creative Expression, and we teach about 15,000 children in a year through Bombay. And we teach them speech and drama and all the things that go with it, the personality development, the teamwork, the confidence, communication skills, etc. So it's an extremely exciting space to be in. And there we produce about 400 plays every
Wow.
year. Yeah.
With all
With
these little
set,
kids.
lights, sound, everything, the works. So it's quite a big, what can I say, task, creative
Yes.
task to pull off. Yeah. Logistically, it's a bit of a nightmare, but otherwise, we try and work it through.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of your podcast interviews and confidence when kids get to act and get in front of the theater and audience. It brings them a tremendous amount of confidence. Yeah, so that's my mother used to be a piano teacher and she'd do productions,
Wow.
and I'd always be put to there to be the MC, to be the actor, to do the introductions. And
Yeah.
if there was a party, I was always like to sing, for everybody. So it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
it does teach you leadership skills and
It does. And so much more. Teamwork, I think, is very important. And in today's day and age, social interaction is the key, you know. Their children are so isolated, they're so with their gadgets. I'll talk about that more later when we talk about our new production. But
no, but
coming
that
back to what you said when
that
I was
is true.
growing up, yeah. Our house was designed like a theater. My father built it from scratch and he built a theater. The living room was the stage and the terrace was the audience. So every day we'd have some production in our house, whether it was a workshop production or they were rehearsing or something. So there was no need for outside entertainment. We didn't have a TV. Even if we had a TV, it never was put on because there was no time. We had live entertainment at home all throughout, but it was very exciting.
Yeah, I can just imagine because it's true. Even growing up in Bombay, the terraces do come up, for theater, for seeing a movie, for dancing, for all those things. So, what was life growing up? Now, you did describe the theater in your house, but what was life growing up in such a celebrity family, and such legends too? So, Pearl and Alex, both such great personalities. What was your life growing up with them?
Crazy.
I know, you would think you were having this nice princess life, but it sounds like you were working all the time.
No, it was crazy. Only because, I mean, there was just a lot happening, you know, constantly. And touch wood, I think both my parents and Ranjit were extremely, what can I say, popular in whatever they did. They were, they did well in whatever they set out to do. So they were, we were it was crazy. You could not walk down the street. You know, if we said, okay, we're going from this point A to point B to the store to pick up some stuff, we'd be stopped about 6 times en route, like a 30-second walk. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
they'd stop, oh my God, I saw you in this, I saw you in that, though obviously there were no cell phones at that time, so there were no
yeah.
pictures, etc. But so much excitement. Whenever we went out to dinner, we would never have a meal quietly. There would be so many people coming, to
Oh,
meet them and all. It was a lovely feeling for them also, I'm sure. But, that was my reality. Why I'm telling you, because you asked me, that's really was my reality. I mean, that was, I was living in a fishbowl and it had nothing to do with me. You understand?
and
I
you
wasn't the one who
forget
was popular.
you were the glue. You held them together. So yeah, yeah. So while I was
Yeah.
reading up about you, I said you were really the treasure in the whole, gamut. So yes. So what was life like for you? I mean, did you have a life? Did you read books? Did you
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah.
friends? What was
Oh,
life
yeah,
like?
yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of friends, lots of interesting, outings. We used to have a little home in Alibag, which is across the water, which was our hideaway. We used to escape there,
Yes.
escape Bombay, and we still do. It's
Yeah.
very lovely, and it's by the water, so it's really, very calming and peaceful. Yeah, so those were the things. Obviously, my father was very, very, what can I say? He was extremely interested in everything. So, and he ensured that I get an all round experience of everything. So, we were off to the ballet, we were off to Kavali nights, we were off to, the Jahangir Art Gallery to see all the lovely art exhibition and sculpture, things like that. He made a film on the trees, Friends of the Trees. So we traveled the whole of Maharashtra looking for interesting trees. And till today, my eye goes up to the trees to see, which ones are really the ones that could
Yeah.
definitely be in the movie. So yeah, so it was very varied, very kind of experiential, which is very important, I feel. And I try to encourage my children, as in not my own, but of course they are all my children, all 15,000 of them, to be exposed to different kinds of stimuli, because I think that's really what keeps you going, what keeps everything. What can I say? Exciting and creative in that sense. And it helps you grow to such an extent that you, in turn, want to help others to grow. That's the most important.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So let's move a little bit to Ace Productions, and so you have brought to the audience everything from psychological drama with broken images, and bringing Shabana Azmi. So what brought about that? And you enjoy a friendship with her too. So tell us a little bit about that
Right.
experience. How did you cast her, and how did you discover
Right.
Gone?
So Shabana and I have been talking for a long time, and I said, we must do something in English because she's normally in Hindi cinema. And we were looking for a script, this, that, couldn't see. So we saw Broken Images produced as a play. It's by, of course, Padma Bhushan. Girish Karnad has written it. Um, and we saw the Hindi version, Dad and myself. And we went to see it. And I turned to Dad and I said, this is it. This is the play. We have to figure out the English translation and talk to Girish and see whether we can do it, etc., etc. So we first, of course, spoke to Shabana and said, "Look, this is the thing. Would you be interested?" She said, "Sure, let's get the script." So we spoke to Girish. He said, "Of course," because Daddy and he had done a lot of work together earlier. So that was kind of the turning point. And then, of course, to set up rehearsals because she was shooting all the time. And but we worked it out in a way. So Dad and she spent a lot of quality time together and, worked on the play, etc., etc. And they had a blast doing it. Of course, they had lots of ins and outs and no, I don't like this and like that. But they kind of met on some middle ground. And yeah, we opened it in 2009. 2009, yeah. So maybe it's, yeah, sorry, it was 16 years, 16 years, yeah. So, and then in 2010, we took it straight to America
Yeah.
for 16 shows. We did 16 shows back to back in 21 days. I don't
Wow.
know how Shabana did it. I don't know how the team did it. All I know is I didn't travel. I was in Bombay figuring out everything logistically, directing it from here, the whole tour. But it was really quite a feat, and they had such a blast because they had so many, many, many issues. Because it's a very fast turnover. Like you perform, then you go to sleep. The next morning, you're in another city. You're starting again. So it was very. But what can I say? It was very, very, very successful because in certain cities it sold out, so we had to have a second show on the same day, which again is very tiring and very exhausting for both Shabana and the team, etc., etc. But it was so gung ho and it was so adrenaline filled, and the fact that it was really very very well received that they just went ahead and did it. Yeah, until date we've had about almost 200 shows now of the play
Yeah.
across the world, across
I,
the world. So we've been
I
to many
know.
places.
And she, what
Yeah,
energy for her age to be on a plane
that's
and
true.
get off a plane and perform. And I mean,
And this,
it's tremendous.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Um,
And this time round, so we did 6 shows in 10 days. Okay. But it was a crazy tour because we were on the East Coast and we went to the West Coast and we went back to the East Coast. So there's a lot of this country traveling, which was quite exhausting. And you won't believe it, but in San Francisco, I get this call and this X-ray, and she says, "Oh my God, I've hurt my foot, this, that, and the other." I said, "Listen, please go and show it to somebody." No, 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 I'm fine, I'm fine. They went on with the show, blah, blah, blah. The next day, 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, I get this WhatsApp with X-rays and all kinds of things. I have a fracture in my foot. Yeah, luckily it was a hairline fracture, but still a fracture is a fracture, it's
It's
intensely
painful, yeah.
painful. So anyhow, she got into that boot, the walking boot, etc., etc. And then she had to travel back to the East Coast to perform another 3 shows this side. So yeah, those were all the dramatic bits that happened during
Yeah.
the tour. Yeah, yeah.
But amazing. And y'all pulled it off and probably coming back again to the US. Will you come back with
Yes.
broken images or something else?
Yes, so we're coming back with broken images for sure. We're going to do a couple of cities that we haven't done before. So definitely on the West Coast, we'll do, LA, etc. This time around, we didn't get to do that. Maybe a couple of cities in Canada and, of course, Miami and places like that. But I have to say that we also had, actually, we've come 3 times to the US with broken images. The third time was we performed at, this was very prestigious. We performed at the Kennedy Center in DC,
Yeah, that is
and it was really prestigious. So I was, what can I say? I was coordinating with them, and I said, "Look, this, that, and the other." And 1 month into before the show, they call me up and they say, "Listen, we're full." So I said, well, that should be a good thing. I said, I have to tell you that normally this is the case. We do get full and we do put in an extra show, etc. And they said, yeah, I wish we could, but because it's such a big festival and we can't really, adjust all the other, what is it called, publicity, etc., etc. I said, well, you have to decide what you want to do. But so that was what can I say, the appeal of the show, that it really, really touched wood has worked a lot with the audience. And it's not a ha-ha comedy for sure. It's
no,
a
no, it's
serious
very
play.
serious.
It's
Yeah.
a serious play, yeah. And it's a 1 hour play and it has just one actor in it. And
I
she speaks
know.
to her own television image, so it's very interesting. So we've done 3 outings in the US and hopefully now next April we're going to do some more.
Fantastic. And I'd love to see it and see more plays coming to
Yeah,
the
yeah, you must, you
Now, do you
must.
ever
And,
think you'd be on Broadway? I know this is a big question. Because I mean, Bombay is so full of dreams and musicals, and and I know
yeah.
that if it was on Broadway, it would be a huge success. But
Well, never
chances
say
of that,
never.
ever say never. Broadway might need you because right now, after COVID, Broadway has taken such a huge hit,
I know,
and
I
they're
know.
selling tickets now for $5,000 a ticket. Denzel Washington and Shakespeare. So
Wow,
yeah, so
really?
the prestige of Broadway has gone up. So I guess if
Mm-mm.
if it was a fundraiser or something, they might accommodate you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to any of your favorite plays, and then I'll end this segment and we'll go into your charitable work, which I think is just fantastic. So,
Okay.
um,
So actually, yeah, so there 2 more plays that we're bringing into the US, and that's one is Unfaithfully Yours with Mona Singh, who's really kind of, made a lot of news right now. She's really done so well in the work she does. I don't know whether you saw that Jussie Koi Nahi. Is that the name? Huh. Um, Long ago. But right now she's doing a lot of stuff. And there's Rohit Roy, who's also worked a lot on television and film. So they're in a two-hander. We're bringing that in April. And 2 fantastic plays on women's issues, which is very close to my heart. So one is called Untitled, and it's all about patriarchy and misogyny, and how important it is for women to really stand up for what they believe in. Very, very interesting concept. Second one is called Aruna's Story, which is on Aruna Shanbag, who is the nurse who was raped in Bombay in a hospital. And she unfortunately lived like a vegetable for 40 years
oh,
post that. So it was a huge, what can I say, case that came up. And Pinky Virani, who's a writer, wrote about it and she wrote this book and she fought for her rights to die with dignity, because to have that kind of, life is no life at all.
that's
So
true.
there were a lot of other things that were brought to the fore, lot of issues, lot of interesting, important, socially relevant issues. So these are the 2 plays that we're going to be bringing as well.
How fantastic. How fantastic. Now, we've had, I'll bring Elton on a little later, but we had the privilege of seeing your father perform Shakespeare and Macbeth and playing Shylock. And
Yeah.
we had some amazing experiences with your theater company. But at this point, I'm going to end this segment. We can do another one on plays, but I really applaud you for doing the work you've done. And wait, my audience, to see the charitable work. It is like something that's going to blow your mind. So I'm going to make sure that both the videos are available to you. You're watching Discover Bright Side with our new launch of the Bombay podcast. And for those of you who may not know what Bombay is, Bombay is one of the greatest cities. It's now called Mumbai, and I had the privilege of living there, and so did Rael. And it's a lifestyle that you cannot compare to any other city. And we'll talk more on the Bombay podcast about that. So tell us what you think about the play, and if you did see Broken Images, write us a comment and tell us what you think about this interview because you matter. And please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington with Discover Brightside.